You ever see a man walk into a courtroom and, in the space of about 5 minutes, make everyone there question everything they thought they knew? Yeah, that happened, and I was there to watch it, though not in the way most people expect. It started just like any other morning in a small Mississippi courthouse, air thick with the smell of old coffee and paper, where the bailiff barely looked up when he called, Leonard Briggs. The name floated out, and for a second nobody moved, until this tall black man's suit rumpled, face unreadable, not a lawyer in sight, stood from the back row and made his way up front, taking those slow, steady steps like he owned the place or like he just didn't care what anyone thought. Maybe both. Now, let me back up a sec because right then, the only folks paying attention were two officers in the back, whispering to each other, you know the type. One nudged the other, bet he's another one of those sovereign citizens, thinks the laws don't apply. The other one stifled a laugh, loud enough for heads to turn. Leonard didn't flinch, didn't smile, didn't give them a thing. His face was a wall, and you could feel the room start to tense like everyone was bracing for the usual routine, except nobody had a clue what was about to hit them. The judge was this older white guy with a comb-over and a radio voice, glasses perched halfway down his nose. He didn't bother hiding his boredom as he flipped through the file. Mr. Briggs, you're being charged with failure to comply during a lawful stop. Is that right? Leonard didn't hesitate, just nodded. That's what the report says. When asked about his lawyer, Leonard answered, I don't need one. The officers snickered in the back, but the judge let it slide, maybe too used to this song and dance. All right, the judge said, sounding ready to get it over with. Anything you'd like to say before we proceed? Leonard took a single step forward, slow as molasses, and reached into his coat, and you could practically hear the room's heartbeat pick up. One officer in the back rose halfway out of his seat, hand twitching near his holster, but Leonard just pulled out a badge, slim and official, and placed it quietly on the bench. I'm Leonard D. Briggs, Director of Internal Affairs, FBI. That's when the air went out of the room. Dead silence. The judge froze, mouth open, then closed, then open again like a fish. The officer who'd half stood collapsed back into his chair, face slack. The other one looked like he'd seen a ghost. You're with the FBI? The judge managed, voice suddenly much smaller. Leonard didn't blink, didn't brag, just said, Internal Affairs. I oversee misconduct investigations for this entire region, including departments flagged for body cam irregularities during stops. There was this moment where nobody moved, not even the toddlers squirming in the gallery. The judge, now sweating a little, asked if Leonard would step into his chambers. I prefer everything stay on the record, Leonard replied. Cool as you please. One of the officers muttered, We didn't know who he was, but Leonard turned, eyes steady, you didn't ask. And that, my friend, is where everything started to unravel. See, what most folks in that room didn't know was what led up to this just the night before. Leonard had been driving his rental Camry down Highway 45, keeping a low profile on his way to a cheap motel, the kind you pick when you don't want to draw attention. He wasn't there on vacation. He was quietly reviewing small police departments, the ones with too many complaints and not enough answers. That's when the red and blue lights hit him from behind. Two officers, both white, one bald, both eager, pulled him over, didn't even bother with the slow approach. Bang on the window, license and registration. Leonard asked, What's the reason for the stop? The bald officer didn't like that. You giving me attitude? He barked, demanding Leonard step out. Leonard kept his cool, handed over his license, never said a word about the FBI. They grilled him about his destination. Federal protocol, Leonard said. That triggered something ugly. You think you're above the law, one snapped. Next thing he knew, they had yanked him out, twisted his arms behind his back, and pinned him to the gravel knees in his back, curses flying, not a single mention of body cams. What they didn't know was Leonard's habit. He'd flicked on a recorder the second those lights hit, a reflex learned the hard way. They booked him, wrote up a report claiming verbal aggression, but left out the part where their own questions and force crossed every line in the book. No body cam footage, of course. By the time Leonard asked for their badge numbers, they just sneered. You'll have plenty of time to ask in court. He spent the night in a holding cell, alone, no phone call, just the flicker of a dying light and the echo of a door slamming shut. And that's how he landed in court that morning, with the whole room expecting a routine case, not the kind where the script flips and everyone suddenly realizes they might have made the mistake of their careers. When Leonard laid that badge on the bench and introduced himself, the game changed. The courtroom, usually so sure of itself, froze those officers in the back, their faces drained, now silent. The judge stumbled, asked, "You're claiming to be FBI?" Leonard gestured to the badge, "Not claiming. I am." The clerk, Darlene, sharp as ever, stood and asked if she should verify the credentials. 5 minutes later she came back, confirmed. FBI, Internal Affairs, Southeastern Division. Nobody was laughing now. The judge, voice cracking, tried to apologize, but Leonard cut him off. "I'm not here for your apology. I'm here to request the charges be dropped immediately and both officers placed on administrative leave pending federal inquiry." The prosecutor didn't even get a word out before the judge granted it. The officers protested. "You're suspending us, just like that?" Leonard turned to them, voice calm. "This isn't about me. This is about every person you've treated like they didn't matter." The badge shut the room up, but the truth was about to spill out for good. The fallout wasn't limited to 4 courthouse walls. At the local department, Sheriff Ricky Halburn lost his mind when he got the call, "You're telling me my guys arrested an FBI agent and dragged him to court?" His deputy, Tamara Wells, didn't even try to sugarcoat it. Maybe because he wasn't treated like one. Behind closed doors, the courthouse scrambled, hush-hush meetings, no recorders, red faces everywhere. Meanwhile, Leonard was back in his motel, dialing up Washington. "You all right?" came a question. "I'm fine," Leonard answered, "but they're not. The stop, the force, the body cams that magically didn't work, the response was immediate. Then let's make this official. Start the inspection." And that's exactly what Leonard did, filing for the body cam footage, time-stamped and specific. The reply: "Footage unavailable due to technical malfunction." Yeah, that old story. Cross-checking with DOJ analysts, Leonard confirmed a pattern 6 outages in 10 months, always during stops involving Black or Latino drivers, never with white motorists. In the department, Officer Dell, the one with the shaved head, tried to play it cool, but everyone saw right through him. Tamara, the deputy, dug through old reports, finding a stack of complaints about rough stops. Every one marked unfounded with no interviews, always the same language, non-compliant, body cam malfunction. The IT tech, Brian, found Dell's digital fingerprints all over the deleted files. Quietly, he slipped the proof to Tamara. The next morning, Leonard walked in, suit the same as yesterday, folder in hand, and straight up told Ricky, "Someone deleted those logs after my arrest." You want to take a guess who? Ricky tried to stall, but Leonard wasn't having it. "You're not looking into it." "I am. Have Dell's badge ready by end of day. Internal Affairs is coming." By midweek, 2 black SUVs rolled in, agents from D.C. in tow, the atmosphere gone from cocky to cold. Grace Mendoza handled the records. Nathan Cole dug through the servers, and Leonard sat down with Tamara to review every dirty file they could find. It was never about one bad night. It was about the culture, about the way people learn to ignore the truth. Grace stormed into Ricky's office, demanding updated training policies. What she got was a cabinet full of 4-year-old manuals. Nathan recovered incomplete videos, including 1 minute of audio, federal protocol. The scuffle, the gravel, the voices enough to confirm the story. Leonard issued a compliance hold, no field operations until further notice. This department is under federal supervision. Ricky tried to protest, but Leonard shut it down. You know what not doing it already did. Word traveled fast. The community found out. First the local news, then the barbershops, then the parents at the community center, all asking the same question: what really happened? Town hall filled up that night, folks demanding answers. The mayor tried to calm things, but a mother in the back, Felicia Green, wasn't having it. Don't look, act. Applause broke out. Sheriff Ricky took the mic, admitted failure. "We didn't care who any of you were. That's on me. We're reopening every dismissed complaint." Tamara looked at Leonard, whispered, "You think it'll change anything?" He just shrugged. "Depends." Do you? By Friday, the truth was out, but accountability's nothing without consequences. Monday, Leonard met the mayor, Tamara, now federal liaison, and Grace Mendoza at City Hall dropped a folder with violations. Policy breaches, falsified reports, body cam tampering, obstruction. Are you recommending prosecution? The mayor asked, knuckles white. Leonard nodded toward Grace. We recommend a full audit and removal of Officer Dell. The mayor hesitated. You're asking me to fire a senior officer? Leonard, we're asking you to restore trust. Tamara, pick a side. Eventually, the mayor relented. Dell was out. No argument, no drama, just a quiet walk out the back door. Change came in, not with a bang, but a slow shift, officers avoiding eye contact, Tamara pulling complaint logs, Leonard handing in protocols for new audits, new standards, and new eyes on every file. There were no banners, no medals, just the heavy knowledge that finally the real work had started. Outside, as the sun dropped low, Leonard made one last call. Send me the next location, he said, not waiting for sympathy, just ready to keep going. You know, respect isn't about uniforms or titles or even being the loudest in the room. Sometimes it's what you do when nobody's watching, who you are when you think no one will ever call you out. Leonard never gave a big speech, never chased headlines, but his work was louder than any siren. It was for the ones who didn't have a badge, who couldn't record the moment, who just needed someone to remember their name. So if you ever get underestimated, remember, your silence isn't weakness. Sometimes the quietest person is holding the most weight. If you're ever in a position to stand up for yourself or someone else, don't forget, it's not the badge that makes the difference, it's the action. And hey, if this story got to you, even a little, don't let it end here. Talk about it, question it, ask for better, and hold your community accountable. And yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want more stories that remind us what really matters, because sometimes fiction doesn't hold a candle to what happens right here, in rooms just like this, every day.